civil rights lawyer. The civil rights lawyer. He's not a civil rights lawyer. He is the civil rights lawyer. Yes, that's just wonderful and grand. So, anybody ready for this?
Sheriff's office, open the door now. If you don't open the door, we're going to write a warrant and kick your door in. Step out now.
Why?
This police officer in Florida pulled an autistic kid right out his own front door, flings him on the ground, puts him in handcuffs, and arrests him.
Put your hands behind your back now.
I
call my mom.
Put your hands...
Okay, first and foremost, you escalated that way too fast. He said, has a warrant. He asked why. It is up to the cop to disclose the reason for the warrant. This is going way beyond what is permissible, in my opinion. This is already 17 seconds, and I'm already ticked off. This is just too much force. No reason to grab the kid. That is excessive force, and there was no reason for it.
Hands behind your back.
Okay, can I call my mom first?
Listen to my headphones. I'm not doing anything.
Why did he do it? Because he saw the kid walking in his own neighborhood.
You're wandering around in the middle of the road, which is a pedestrian violation.
I was checking my mail.
My car is literally a marked unit. You turn in front of me and walk towards your door.
When the sheriff's department that employs this police officer found out what happened, guess what? They supported it. But when the public saw the footage, they were outraged. Then the sheriff's department began to backpedal, and now they've apparently suspended the officer. Let me point out their gaslighting and explain why just suspending him is not enough.
All right, yeah, please.
Welcome back to the Civil Rights Lawyer channel, where the mission is to protect and defend your constitutional rights so that the things that you see in this video don't happen again to somebody else. This video is from the Pensacola, Florida area, Santa Rosa County, Florida. This involves the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office and Deputy Zachary McPherson. The incident happened on January 29th of 2025 on Julia Drive in Milton, Florida. Two neighbors across the street from 20-year-old Alexander Cash say that he had just returned from walking his younger brother home from the school bus stop, and he was checking the mail when Deputy McPherson pulled up in his patrol car. He saw Alexander wearing a black hoodie over his head walking across the street, and he said, "Come here." But Alexander just kept walking away from him back towards his house. Deputy McPherson didn't know it at the time, allegedly, but he later learned that Alexander was wearing headphones under his hoodie, and he didn't hear the deputy because he was listening to music. And he listens to music because he has severe ADHD and mild autism, and headphones and music allows him to function, essentially. It helps keep him focused.
I could understand.
The deputy...
I mean, I constantly have to have music, or probably listen to one of the many VTuber clips or episodes I end up watching from Rosie Bell Moon, or Rosie Moonbell. You know what? My dyslexia is probably Rosie Bell Moon. Yeah, there we go. Kirsha. I haven't watched much of Shy Lily lately. Probably should. I only have so much time in the world. Dipper. She's fun. Mari's always fun. She hopes that you have a little bit better. Anyway, nonetheless, I actually understand. Sometimes you just want that in your ears. And just because somebody doesn't respond to you doesn't mean you automatically go completely postal on it. Sometimes it just takes a quick tap on the shoulder. Let them turn around, pull down their headphones, and say, "Yes." You know, sometimes it just takes being a little extra courteous. Perhaps.
He allegedly ordered him to stop several more times, but Alexander just kept walking towards his home and into his home. The neighbors said that it appeared to them that Deputy McPherson became angry when Alexander walked back into his house and shut and locked the door. McPherson then pounded on the door, demanding that it be opened, or he would go and get a warrant and then kick the door down.
I'm sorry.
Sheriff's office, open the door now.
No reason for that warrant. That judge would have probably left in your face, most likely. I would have left in his face, like.
If you don't open the door, we're going to write a warrant and kick your door in. Open the door now.
When Alexander eventually did open the door, Deputy McPherson grabbed Alexander.
Step out.
Why?
Step out now.
Why?
Yanked him out of his house.
I'm sorry, but that is not
and
the way you
onto the front yard. And he began to sort of tussle with him on the ground.
Can I ask what is going on?
Put your hands behind your back now.
And he put him in handcuffs.
I call my mom.
Put your hands behind your back now.
I call my mom.
Put your hands behind your back.
Okay, can I call my mom first?
Look at Mama Llama.
I just want to know what's going on. I just want to know what's going on.
Yeah, that is a good question. He's asking you to be appraised of the situation, and what most cops should actually be
Can I ask what's
appraising
going
the
on?
Yes, sir, you can.
situation
Give me
to
just a
the
second to
suspect.
make sure these handcuffs aren't too tight on you. And I will explain in detail. I'm talking to him.
What's going on? I don't understand.
What's going on, sir, is that I've ordered you to stop 3 times and identified myself as a sheriff's deputy while you were walking away from me. Then you rush in your house and lock your door.
Well, I was listening to my music, so I didn't.
And when I tell you to step out, you're not doing it.
I was listening to my music. I didn't.
How do I know what you're doing?
You can listen to my headphones.
But I couldn't see that.
I have my head.
But I couldn't see that, right?
I don't know what. I don't know what's going on.
Hey!
In the body cam footage,
Yeah.
both neighbors can be heard yelling and cursing as both parties were recording.
Hey! You're
I'm sorry, but that is excessive. Just because he tells you to stop doesn't mean you have a presumption of making him stop. Not to my knowledge, you don't. In fact, he couldn't hear you. Are you going to do the same thing to a person who actually is deaf? They can't hear you at all. They are mute. They are deaf. They can't respond to you. Is that how you're going to treat people? I mean, seriously. That's excessive. Once you understand the situation, you'll be like, I mean, that is excessive power trip right there. You want people to, you want to control people. That's all you want to do.
Hey, you can stand and record all you want. But if you keep it up, you're going in handcuffs next.
I'm sorry.
Now sit up.
Civilians.
What's going on? I don't understand.
You're being detained right now for failing to abide by my instructions to stop.
Well, I didn't.
It's very simple.
You said listen to my headphones. I'm not doing it.
I can see that through his hoodie. Nobody gives a fuck what you're recording.
Can I ask you why you?
I got a camera on my chest too.
Can I ask why you wanted to stop me?
Yes, because you're wandering around in the middle of the road, which is a pedestrian violation.
I was checking my mail. My mailbox is in his yard. My mom asked me.
Sir, I literally watched you from over there. You walked across, you were on your cell phone. You never looked any direction. You were standing in the middle of the road.
Look,
I got out with you.
can I just show you right quick?
Give me just a second. You're asking me all these questions, and I'm explaining them to you.
Yeah, he takes
Okay.
his knob up, sometimes he'll
So
stop for a
I
second
get out
and
with
then
you
he'll
right
go
here.
back.
My car is literally a marked unit.
I didn't
You
see you.
turn in front of me and walk towards your door. And I am screaming at you to stop.
My music was blasting.
Right, but I can't see you that you had music on your head, right?
Yeah,
Because you had what on your head?
my hoodie.
Right. So when I go up
And
there and I
it's
knock
not
on
a
the
crime
door,
to wear a
and I say,
hoodie.
sheriff's office,
Oh,
come
it's
out,
easy.
and you answer the door, and I say, step out of the car, step out of the house, and you're like, why?
Just
It's perfectly reasonable for me to believe that you're trying to run from me,
But I didn't.
and that you're not
understand.
listening to what I'm saying to do.
I was, but I was wanting to know why before I stepped out my house.
And what
I'm
I will
trying to-
do is,
Brother.
sir, when you abide by my instructions, I will explain everything to you. But I don't know who you are. And I don't know why you're failing to abide by my instructions.
I didn't hear you.
Right, but I didn't know that.
Now you
So I have
know
every
that.
reason to put my hands on you when you're not listening to what I'm telling you to do.
That doesn't sound
Because I have a lawful reason to get out with you.
Do you?
The neighbors subsequently posted those videos on social media. They went viral. This caused the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office to make a statement in response. This was their news release dated January 31st, 2025. This is what they said happened. A deputy made contact with a 20-year-old.
Let me read this. Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office update recent incident. Santa Ana Rosa, Florida, on January 29, 2025, deputy made contact with a 20-year-old individual during a routine patrol of Julia Drive in Milton. Or Julia. That might make sense. Julia Drive in Milton. After observing potential law violations the individual disrupting my ass. And the individual disregarding verbal commands, the deputy made contact with the resident. Based on the circumstances, the individual was detained and part of an investigation in progress. What investigation would there be? He didn't do any. You didn't see him steal anything. Didn't do anything. You saw him walk across the street. Walking across the street last time I known wasn't that bad. Wasn't worthy of all this, especially whenever you're coming from what you can. At the time I was seeing it was probably and turning was the person coming from their mailbox. During questioning, it was determined that the individual may not have heard the deputy's command due to wearing headphones. May not. Yeah, it was actually 100% true, because he was still wearing those headphones, which were covered by a hooded jacket. Just say hoodie. Hoodii. Hoodie. Hoodie. You could just said hoodie and just remove the word jacket, and not visible to the deputy. You could have just said covered by the hood of a hoodie, or just covered by a hood. Following the investigation, no charges were filed. We ask the community to be patient as we complete the internal investigations. Until the investigation is complete, we are unable to provide further details.
Individual during routine patrol of Julia Drive in Milton. In other words, there had been no crime. Nobody had reported a crime. It was just some guy driving around who saw some kid walking towards his mailbox.
So basically, he way overstepped his...
After observing a potential law violation and the individual disregarding verbal commands, the deputy made contact at the residence. Based on the circumstances, the individual was detained as part of the investigative process. During questioning,
whenever they say they're detained, it also means that they're basically under arrest. The moment you are detained, you are technically under arrest. Whether or not they fill out the paperwork is a different story, but you are technically under arrest the moment you are detained.
It was determined that the individual may not have heard the deputy's commands due to wearing headphones, which were covered by a hooded jacket and not visible to the deputy. Following the investigation, no charges were filed. We ask the community to be patient as we complete the internal investigation. Until this investigation is completed, we are unable to provide further details. The Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office, led by Sheriff Bob Johnson, launched an internal affairs investigation. Ultimately, they concluded that Deputy McPherson did in fact violate the department's policy on conduct unbecoming of a law enforcement officer, specifically the standard of conduct/integrity, which prohibits actions that undermine the agency's reputation or an officer's integrity. In the end, McPherson was suspended for 3 days as a result. McPherson himself expressed regret, admitting to the internal affairs investigator that he let anger influence his actions, and he spoke discourteously to Alexander and the neighbors, and he felt that the video did not reflect who he aimed to be. Honestly, this just makes me want to pull my hair out. Why is there this much ignorance about basic constitutional law? It's not even mentioned in the press releases, in the media reports, anywhere. The actual problem here, just violating department policy because you're rude to somebody or you're using profane language, those are not constitutional violations. Those mean nothing. Everyone is either ignoring or missing the actual real problem here. Not just that it embarrasses your department or embarrasses a police officer to mistreat an autistic kid or curse at people who are filming them. At the very beginning of the body cam footage, Deputy McPherson mentions that he does not have a warrant.
If you don't open the door, we're going to write a warrant and kick your door in.
He's making threats to go get a warrant if the door is not opened. Therefore, he does not have a warrant. What can police officers not do if they do not have a warrant? They cannot arrest you at your home, inside your home, without a warrant. U.S. Supreme Court, Payton versus New York. Very, very basic constitutional law. But let's get more specific. This happened in Florida. Florida is in the 11th Federal Circuit. There's a good case there from 2015, Moore versus Peterson. Everything we need to know is discussed in that case. Like here, that was a doorway threshold arrest.
I am going to edit
without a warrant. And that's a big no-no, even to the 11th Circuit, which almost always sides with police officers. Internal Affairs should go read that case, because here's what it says. Police violate the Fourth Amendment when they effect a warrantless arrest at the threshold of a home where they lack probable cause and either exigent circumstances or consent. Generally, police can make an arrest without a warrant if they have probable cause, but not in a home. To arrest somebody in a home without a warrant, they still have to have probable cause, but then they also have to have either consent, because anybody can waive their constitutional rights. Why would you do that? I don't know. That didn't happen here, thankfully. Or the only other exception is exigent circumstances, which is some sort of emergency. The courts are pretty strict about that. Like it's a domestic violence situation and somebody's in danger inside the house. It can't just be like, hey, I saw you cross the street. I think that's a crime. I have reasonable suspicion that some crime had occurred. Therefore, I'm detaining you or arresting you, whatever. They can't do that. Moore versus Peterson specifically said that a reasonable, articulable suspicion of criminal wrongdoing is not enough when you're dealing with the home or the threshold of a home. Additionally, the court said when the police knock on a door and the occupant chooses to open the door and speak with the officers, the occupant need not allow the officers to enter the premises and may refuse to answer any questions at any time. But unfortunately here, Alexander was denied his Fourth Amendment constitutional rights. Who cares about the cussing? Who cares about the optics? I care about the Constitution. I care about the fact that nobody bothered to point out the real problem here. Yeah, an autistic kid was thrown to the ground, but it happened out of the threshold of his home, which even if it wasn't an autistic kid, if it was an unsympathetic criminal, it is just as serious. I'd love to hear the sheriff of Santa Rosa County, Florida, address that. And he probably parades around as a conservative to get votes. Why didn't Internal Affairs address the fact that this kid was pulled out of his house in violation of the Fourth Amendment? I want to hear the explanation. And if they can't explain that, he needs to go. Everybody involved needs to go. This police officer especially needs to go. They're sending a signal to other police officers in that agency, in that department. You don't need a warrant to pull somebody out of their front door. Just don't use obscene language when you do it. They're gaslighting the public is what they're doing. And the media doesn't know any better, but people need to see the footage and they need to know better. They need to know what the law is. You can help by making this go viral. Make sure that everybody sees it, increase the pressure on them to give some sort of a response and spread the truth. Spread the real law. And let me know in a comment what you think about this. Hopefully, I'll have an update, so you can follow along by subscribing both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. You can follow me on X at JohnBryanESQ. Our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.
Alright guys, go follow him on his socials. And don't forget to go check him out up onto his video. I really do hope you guys enjoyed that. So, I hope you guys enjoyed every bit of that as much as I did. Don't forget to go follow on the socials. I will have his video linked down below up onto this upload. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch, Kick, X, and here on YouTube. And I hope to see you guys in the next video.